Hello, my name is Andrew Dietlein, and I will be talking about homeschooling and unschooling today. Unschooling is a version of homeschooling where a kid is encouraged to learn how they want to learn, when they want to learn, and what they want to learn. This has really taken off over the years and seems to be continuing in that direction. Home unschooling is known by several different names, such as interest-based learning or natural learning. Unschooling is a legitimate type of learning, just like homeschooling, because you don't follow a curriculum, because not every kid can, but you still learn at the same pace, and that's the joy of unschooling. Any learning that takes place outside of a conventional learning institution, such as homeschooling or public schooling or private schooling, is considered unschooling. This is based on the trust that a child will still learn and that they will grow and continue to learn and enjoy learning. And unschooling and homeschooling allow a kid to do things at their own rate. They don't have to try and keep up with others. They don't have to try and outshine others. And that's the great thing about it, because not every kid can do that. And each family has their own version of homeschooling or unschooling. Unschooling goes by a set of values, and those really include hands-on learning and that life is learning, not through books. Everyone has a different learning style, and unschooling really attains to that because not everyone can follow a set of rules. Different families have different sets of rules for their schooling, though. Some are very strict on the scheduling, and some are just like whenever you want to learn, you can learn. And remember, hands-on is the best way to learn because then you learn it for a lifetime. Because whenever you memorize something, most of the time you forget it. You can't judge everyone by the same standards. The tests that they give in schools and for homeschoolers and stuff are a way to judge what you have memorized from what they've given you, and what most of what you memorize you forget over time. Not everyone is good at taking tests either. Some people have testing anxiety and just have trouble with it. Not all tests have rational answers, because sometimes two answers are right and they just want you to pick that they've got you to memorize, and not everyone can do that. Parents do not always agree with school curriculum, and that's why they put them in homeschooling or unschooling. Or sometimes they want to add more religious beliefs, or don't want to reteach a child, yes, that's what your teacher taught you, but that's not true because this is what we believe. And this just makes it easier for a parent to do that. Parents feel comfortable with what their kids learn at home and with what their kids learn from them because they know what they believe and they know what they want their kids to believe. And this just makes it easier for everyone. And also it keeps parents knowing what their kids are exposed to and how much of what they're exposed to. They do not want their kids to be locked away. They don't want them to be cooped up inside whenever it's a beautiful day, when they can be outside learning about different animals or plants, or just being a kid and playing and getting out energy to learn later or to just take a day off. Some parents decide to homeschool or unschool if they believe their child is being held back mentally, because not every child learns at the same rate. So if they think that their child is ahead of their school, then they will pull them out and homeschool to keep the creativity going. It lets kids learn how they want to learn and allows them to ask questions without fear of humiliation, because let's face it, no matter how much teachers say it, everyone is scared to ask questions. It also allows them to become individualized and lets them become who they want to become. Parents don't want a cookie-cutter child. They don't want them to be the same as everyone else. They want them to be who they were meant to be. They want their child to have freedom to learn and the freedom to love what they learn. Because whenever you unschool, your child gets to pick what they learn. They don't want their kids to fear grades or tests. They don't want it to be a negative reinforcement to say, oh, you got an F on that assignment, you stink, you need more schooling. And they don't want extra pressure on their kid to do well. If you do it at home, your kid will always do well because it's up to you how they do it. They don't want their kids to hate learning. I always hated learning because it stuck with grades and all this, and you had to learn what the teacher gave you. And they want their kids to be happy when they learn, and they want them to be excited to learn, and they want them to really enjoy it. Parents feel as if school is no better than prison because there's so many of the same rules and so many of the same areas in it. Like, they tell you when to eat, when to move, when to sit, when to be quiet, and that's just not cool with a lot of parents. There are many similarities between prison and school, which scares parents. Honestly, it doesn't scare me, but I can see where they're coming from. And they want to control what their kids experience and when they experience it. They can't always control that, but at home they have a better chance than if their kids are at school. Unschoolers believe that life is how you learn and how you teach, because everything you need to know in life comes from life. They don't want to follow a defined curriculum because not every kid can follow a curriculum, and they don't want to force their kids to learn what they think is best. Without a set curriculum, kids are able to make any time a learning experience. Because sometimes you just have those random questions that you want to ask, and if you're at school, you can't always do that. And kids don't get bored because they are not forced to learn. And that is the joy of unschooling. Thank you.